What's up, guys? We're here, episode 3 of Fresh One, the BD Outdoors podcast. I'm joined by my coworker and friend Nate Lindsay, and we are here with a special guest today. We have Michael Friedrich from SushiMeRollnSD, San Diego. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Great to be here with you boys.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're stoked to have you guys, or have you on today. It's a pretty cool episode. We got a lot going with you right now. If you guys listening are fans of BD and fans of the site, we've been releasing recipes from SushiMeRollnSD and kind of the whole catch and care and how you really ought to be treating and eating your fish. So yeah, I mean, I would love just to kind of hear a little bit about you, what kind of got you into sushi. I know you're a big-time fisherman, long-time BD member. Like, how did you even get to where you are now with a mobile sushi catering business?
Well, you know, it started a few years ago, 7-8 years ago, really, when that El Nino really started taking effect and we were catching all this tuna and, come home with, your Mexican limit of tuna, you got 5 tunas. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of meat, even that 15, 20-pound fish. So I just really got tired of doing it one way, sashimi or just searing it, with sesame seeds. It just, kind of got old. So I started taking up sushi and I started, watching YouTube videos and just master chefs getting after it and, learning from them. And I bought a decent knife, like a sashimi knife, and, started learning proper cuts and, and once I did that, it sparked some interest and kind of fueled a passion for sushi for me. And ever since then, like on my days off, I was, doing sushi. I was working on my cuts of nigiri and, doing rolls. And just like any traditional, person doing sushi at their home, it's a mess, right?
Yeah.
When you first start, it's such a mess.
For sure.
Rice is everywhere. Your rolls look like crap, but it's just like anything. If you practice it long enough, you're going to get good at it. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I did, Learning rice was the hardest part.
That's what I've heard is it's the most important part.
It's absolutely crucial.
I actually didn't hear that from any person. I watched it on a Netflix show.
Yeah.
But he seemed like someone who knew his shit. So
yeah.
That's what he said.
Well, when we were doing the recipes, I was behind the scenes there, and I was chatting you up about it. Like, man, when I make sushi, I just botch the rice every time. I don't measure it. And I was watching you do it, and I was like, this is why mine looks like shit every single time. It never holds. It always looks funky. I just drown it in soy sauce and a little bit of wasabi and call it a day. But then after being on set with you and watching the way you did it and seeing like, holy shit, if I give a little bit of care into this, I might be able to make it look half decent.
Yep.
And I mean, what was the big thing about the rice was the vinegar and the ratio. You measure everything out.
Yep, it's got to be measured. Yep. Washing it vigorously. I mean, you got to really wash that rice because, it's a dirty starch, grain, right? So you got to get all that excess starch off of it. And if you really put time and effort into caring for your rice, you're going to get a premium product at the end. It's just, you can't really just ease into it. You got to go full blown. Like, okay, this rice is going to be absolutely perfect. I'm going to spend 30 minutes on it, right? Washing it, getting the proper measurements, cooling it, chopping it. Once you put it in your bowl, right? Chopping it, cooling it is absolutely crucial too after you season it.
That's so fun. That's so crazy. When you're chopping the rice right now. That's crazy.
It is, but when it's all said and done, you get this beautiful rice you should be able to pick every individual grain on the rice, right? On your sushi rolls, it shouldn't look like glue or mushiness, right?
Yeah.
You should be able to count every individual grain on that roll.
So what do you have to say to all the audience members who buy those little microwavable sushi rice containers?
I wouldn't buy that.
That's a no.
That's a hard no. Yeah, for like if you're eating like that with like a protein or something, that's perfect. But when it comes to sushi, you can go to the store, right? You can go to your local Ralph's, Vons. There's a brand called Nishiki, and it's absolutely incredible. It's super easy to work with. You can wash it 3 to 4 times really well. put in your rice cooker. I highly recommend a rice cooker
Yeah,
too.
that's huge. Game changer for sure.
100%. Getting a good rice cooker. Just, fun fact before I tell you everything, I started my business, I was using a $20 rice cooker.
Really?
I was doing 60-person yacht parties with that.
You were pumping rice out.
Pumping rice out.
Did you have somebody just on rice patrol? Or was it all you?
It was all me.
Wow.
I was a one-man band for a while.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
You could have hired Ira. Ira would have pumped out some rice.
Dude, yeah, put me behind that thing.
But yeah, you can go to your local grocery store, pick up that nishiki rice. It washes pretty easily. It's super easy to work with, and you don't have to soak it. Some sushi rice, like a shorter grain, you'll have to soak like for 30 minutes, and it's a little bit more temperamental in a sense, right? So this rice is super user friendly, and it's quality rice. It's really nice rice. A lot of the sushi restaurants use it. It's a little larger grain than like your Calrose rice,
Right.
but it's just super easy to work with, and once it's all said and done, it makes great sushi. It really does.
Yeah. So one of the things, I'm super amateur with it, but I like to,
That's
come
on your
home with,
Instagram. You be posting some pretty
I like to make it look
chef-worthy
good.
stuff. Yeah.
Thanks, bro. I like to make it look good for sure. So like, I understand the artistry part. Like, I look at your stuff that you do, and I'm like, that looks just insane. And the crazy thing is, it's not like a up close picture that's like edited or anything. It's like a full spread of stuff that just looks killer. And I think it's amazing you're able to do like the scale, but have each individual piece like look so good. And I think that takes a lot of passion, really, and like, you obviously really care about the food you prepare. But I, as a fisherman, like to come home and exactly what you were talking about, like coming home with all this fish. And I used to do that. I used to sear it or chop it up and make, hand rolls, spicy tuna hand rolls. And then
Nothing wrong with that
my
either.
mom, who's a really good chef, started mixing it up and like looking up different recipes for it. And then that just sparked my interest. And now it's cool because I love fishing, but I also think it's just as fun to like make cool stuff with the fish you catch after the fact.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, since, let's see, what was that, about a month ago that we got together and filmed all those things. So the sliders, Ira, how long has the sliders been live on the site? 2 weeks?
Yeah, like 3 weeks.
3 weeks. So since those went live on the site, I have made them 4 different times with 4 different groups of people. And everyone loves them so
they're
much.
so
Dude,
great.
they
They're
are
just
so good. Like,
minuscule ingredients,
Yeah.
and just everything kind of works together. You get that sweet and saltiness from the furikake, right? And then, the sweet, buttery Hawaiian sweet roll.
yeah.
The gochujang aioli,
Yeah.
adds a little bit of sweet spice to it. And the slaw gives that good acidity with the yuzu miso.
Yeah.
It's just, they're killer. And it's just, they're user-friendly, You don't have to work 3 hours whipping up a dish,
Yeah.
You can literally have those done in 25, 30 minutes.
Seriously.
or less.
What I realized, too, is where I am in North County, there's not like a huge Asian market near me. And I was able to find all the ingredients kind of at like a Whole Foods or a Lazy Acres or something.
Yep.
And they last. It's not like you're blowing through, because I don't have all those, I don't have the gochujang and the yuzu in my cabinet because I'm not always cooking with it.
Right.
But now that I have it, it's like, okay, well, we have enough to make this 3 more times.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
that was pretty awesome. And then, like, I love, making poke for friends and stuff like that, but it's so easy. It happens all the time. And after a while, it's like, what else are we doing with this tuna? And I can't eat cooked tuna, man. When it's cooked all the way through, I just no.
It's different. I do I smoked a batch of tuna. My dad
Love smoked tuna.
Smoked's different.
Yeah, my dad caught a 40, 50 pound fish the other day on the Dolphin, and he lives in Mississippi, so instead of bringing back a bunch of fresh fish in a cooler, we just went, you know what, let's go ahead and smoke it. So I smoked it with pecan, and I did a soy sauce, brown sugar brine with a little bit of miso in there, and some little curing salt, and it came out just
Killer.
absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trick with smoked tuna is, that brine is absolutely crucial, but just not overcooking it. Like bringing it to 140, get your probe. If it's probing 135 even, pull it. That way it doesn't dry out.
Right.
Because it will carry over. It will go to
Keep
140.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then I bet your dad's stoked too because
he's
he's
so
not
stoked.
he's not bringing home a cooler full of fish. He's dry bagging it. And he's good to
Exactly.
go.
It's
Throw
all
it right in the
vacuum still. I
suitcase.
just got one of
Yeah.
those meat. I was talking to Ali about it. He got me on that meat chamber vacuum sealer.
Oh yeah.
One
Oh,
he has.
yep.
It is
I used
so
to have
nice.
one.
It's like next level, right?
It is
Like,
next
proper.
level.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, man, it's I don't prefer cooked fish, right? But I do like smoked tuna and like
Yeah.
making a smoked tuna
Oh.
dip with it.
For sure.
You know, there's so many ways to utilize that protein. It's absolutely
How
endless.
thick do you like to have your tuna in the smoker?
So that's a good question because if you go larger, you really need to kind of portion it out to where, honestly, like medallions like that, like 2
to 3
3 inches, yeah. Because you get larger, it's just
What about the thickness though?
thickness. That's crucial too. Like I would say, like a solid 2 by 2. You know,
Okay.
Okay.
like just like those. You got a 40-pound fish. Those medallions, kind of cut them like 2 inches apart, and that's perfect. you
Okay.
know?
Right on. Yeah,
What are you
because
doing with those bigger fish? You're like half in the fillets or quadding them because they'll be what that thick?
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
gotta take more time cutting it, and
those big fish, man. When you go out and some of
Units.
these charters that are coming home with 4 cows, with what do you do with that?
yeah,
Yeah. That's
You smoke it and you freeze it and you eat as much as
Yeah.
you can, but
well, you call Michael here.
You
and
call
he shows
me.
a big
Yeah, that's
house
right.
and
Yeah,
makes
for
it into
real.
it. He'll
I'm
feed
gonna-
60 people.
Yeah.
we did
100%.
a 160 person wedding the other day.
that's
we
sick.
put it to use because what we do. So say Jack and Jill go fishing, right? They take a charter boat out. They go with old Nate Lindsay here, right? They catch a cow, right? That's yielding a lot of meat, right? And there's only so much you can do with it, before you're tired of it. So that's where I come in. So I come to your house and I take your protein and I do poke nachos with it, which bed of wonton chips, that bluefin tuna that you guys caught, poke sauce, little wakame, little nori. I put it on those wonton chips and I accompany it with truffle oil, spicy mayo, unagi sauce, micro cilantro, serrano chili, more nori, and it's just avocado, green onion. It's definitely my biggest hit. They're huge. It's just such a bite.
And you're like lining the tables with that stuff.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
It looks
Because
so sick.
people really just go after them.
Yeah.
I bet.
They go after.
Yeah.
If you guys are listening to this right now and you haven't seen Mike's Instagram, it's SushiMeRollnSD. No I in Rollin, right?
Yep,
R-O-L-L-N.
sushi me ROLLNSD.
Yeah, go look at the spreads that he does. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like when
They're
you
nuts.
did a rice bowl charter on the Shogun, right? And you took
Oh,
over the
man.
galley for a day. I
Yeah.
saw you and Daniel in there.
Yep, Daniel and Grant. Yeah, they
That's awesome.
assisted me. It was cool because I do those trips and rice bowls are pretty special. They're a good charter group. We work on the Shogun, the Indy, the Royal Star, the RP. But when I'm out there, I like to give the passengers a little treat. So why not do sushi? So, and with my style, I really like to take tables and wrap them in saran and just fill it like that because I feel like family. It's a great way to everyone can eat at the same time. It's like family style. Like if I were to do it here, I'd wrap that table and just fill it completely full of sushi.
Oh,
You know.
wow, we should have done that for
Yeah.
this podcast. Wrap this table.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I can find a table around here.
We'll have a part 2 coming.
But yeah, it's. I'm a firm believer we eat with our eyes, right? So seeing a beautiful spread like that before you dive in, it's just, for me it triggers. I'm like, wow, like this is really nice looking. I can't wait to go after it. And everyone was just so pumped, so stoked that we took the time to do that. It only took a couple hours, probably 2.5 hours. I had to cut fish and we let it rest in the RSW for a while.
Yeah.
Really let it firm up. Did some spam musubis on there too. I'm a big fan of spam
Oh,
musubi.
I love musubi, dude.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
my
I
goodness.
did a spam musubi not too long ago. I did a hash brown. I did that
Oh.
new maple spam.
Ooh.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That
it's
sounds
American
insane.
cheese, a fluffy egg,
Oh.
wrapped in nori and
If
rice.
you put that next to the finest piece of sushi
Yeah.
art, I don't know which one I choose.
Yeah, right?
I'm down with spam, man.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we did a lot of that on the Shogun, and everyone was just so pumped.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, they didn't finish it all.
Okay.
There's a
That's
few pieces
something.
left.
That's something we need to talk
Really?
on because we were talking about this
Yep.
before we stepped in the studio. Is that you were saying that aside from the 160 person wedding, you normally make too much fish. Like people aren't able to finish it because they're giving you the fish, right? So you're
Right.
just preparing. So this is another staple for them to know. Like you even have Mike come in and make you all the sushi you want. You're still gonna have fish
Yeah.
left over.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And then I like to break it up, right? If you don't have Yellowtail to supply, I supply Japanese hamachi, and then I supply like really nice salmon as well, like Patagonia salmon, Scottish, whatever I get my hands on. Some of the best is that Morro Bay salmon from up
Really?
north. Oh my gosh,
Interesting.
yeah, it's so good. And I cure it in house. It's really nice, buttery, just unreal fish. So I also bring that as well. That way we're not just stuck on tuna.
Yeah.
Right.
We kind of break it up.
you're
and
right. Yeah.
What
different.
seems to be, so you were saying the nachos, the poke nachos are like one of the hottest items, most
Absolutely.
in demand.
Absolutely.
If they don't have tuna, right, like other than that, what have you noticed people enjoy the most or want the most? Salmon?
Salmon it's so tough.
Because I feel like with salmon, people either are really like it
Or
in
they
the
hate
sushi
it.
format or they hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
I love it too. Honestly, probably salmon.
Salmon?
It's just so
Yeah.
it's so
It definitely makes the food look like just the color of salmon. I
Yeah.
think makes any dish.
there's
look
just
really
so many
good.
different options.
Yeah, it's
too.
versatile.
Because you can. I like to do really like paper thin lemon slices on top of salmon, little citrus ponzu,
yeah.
like stuff like that. Just like
Good.
a pop like that. It's so nice. As well with yellowtail, you can take some really nice cuts of yellowtail. Cucumber, scallion, yellowtail, little jalapeno on top. Kimchi. I do a kimchi ponzu as well.
Oh my
It's really nice.
Lord.
How
Yeah.
about that the yellowtail carpaccio that's in our
Yeah.
in our recipes on our site as well? That's awesome.
That's such a. I was
was
just
there serrano on top of that? Or was it jalapeno?
Yeah, really thin serrano chili,
yeah.
kimchi ponzu, a little smoked salt, the microgreens,
And the torch.
the torch.
Taking the torch to
The
it.
torch
that was
is
so,
key.
Yeah, so
It
It
is.
really
It
does.
is.
It imparts a really cool flavor.
Yeah, it brings out a different depth.
Yeah.
It's just, and that's like the perfect summertime dish. You could eat
Yeah.
that all day and just not feel any guilt about it. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You
I
know?
think yellowtails might be my favorite fish all around.
Yeah,
Just
mine
for
too.
versatility,
Second
it's
Absolutely,
like
mine too.
yeah,
Yeah.
Michael and I were talking before this about like one of the things I do with yellowtail is when I'm over eating it raw or whatever. Hearing this, a lot of people get thrown off, but if you soak it in buttermilk or even like a whole milk, it pulls all the oil out. And then I like to fry it like chicken fried style.
Really?
Yeah, and it tastes like fried chicken.
No
It's
way.
insane. Yeah, yellowtail you can do so much cool stuff with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely my favorite fish as well, because it's the quintessential fish of SoCal.
Yeah.
You can fish them almost all year, right? I love fishing for them. I love eating them. I built my business, my logo around the yellowtail.
Right.
It's my favorite fish. I feel like there's nothing like coming tight on a service iron yellowtail bite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No.
It's just there's just nothing like it. So and then, it's Coronado Islands. That's a special place.
Yeah.
Catching those things.
It's crazy that the volume of fish, for how hard it gets fished every single year, the fact that there's always, relatively speaking, it's always like a target area to fish. Like the fish always fill in there, I
Yep.
think is pretty crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you might even, while you're fishing for that yellowtail, you might catch a 40-pound bluefin at those islands.
This year?
I know.
Did you? There was 70-pound yellowfin that were being caught.
Yeah.
By the lighthouse and
Wild.
stuff. I know. I remember that day. I was fishing like just south of there around the 101 or something, and we were seeing some yellowfin. But then, like, we heard on the radio, like, oh yeah, there's yellowfin busting everywhere at South Island, and I was like, what?
That's so wild. That's so wild.
Sure enough, I get home and I go on the gram, and there's like people on sport boats with big yellowfin.
Yeah.
Islands right in the background.
I think I saw the Vendetta on a stop and see like a 50-pounder on deck, and they got another one going. I'm like, oh
yeah,
my
it was
God.
a Vendetta.
Yeah, and you
that's
see the
funny.
middle grounds right there. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Dude.
So, with you and fishing, are you you kind of do a little bit of both, right? Private boat and sport boat as well. Because of course we talked about Rice Bowl, and then
Yep.
you were saying you did a day trip with your dad the other day.
Yep,
and all
on the
that
Dolphin.
Stuff. So are you pretty 50-50, or what boats do you fish on mostly?
So, I am pretty 50-50. I really only fish sport boats like when I do my Rice Bowl trips, or, I'll hop on the Liberty. Absolutely love that boat. I've been fishing that boat since it came to San Diego. I love Taro and all the guys on there. I really like the small boat game because I feel like it's so rewarding finding that fish on your own. It's challenging. And there's been many skunk days when the sport boats have crushed them,
Oh, yeah.
And
it's a whole different type of fishing.
It is.
Yeah.
So I feel like that challenge aspect of it kind of drives me to be more of a small boat guy.
Yeah.
But I love the comfort of those sport boats, on those Rice Bowl trips. Like on the Indy, I just got back from a 7-day, and there's no comfort like being able to sit down in the shower, you know what I mean? When you're 400 miles down the line.
Yeah.
It's just eating, prime rib and stuff like that, and but when that fish is up on the bird and foaming up, there's nothing like running up on it real fast, getting a lure in their face, and catching them like that, dude. Like on a small boat, there's just nothing like it.
Yeah.
Driving fast is just fun.
It is fun.
I like going fast.
We talked a lot about that in the first episode because I fished mostly sport boats until I kind of started hanging out with these guys. And going fast is epic.
It is.
Yeah.
It's fun, man. It's fun. Especially when you got those Freemans and everyone's kind of
I gotta
switched.
figure out a way to get one of those somehow.
Yeah.
But so what's on the docket for you these next few weeks? You fishing at all, or mostly busy with sushi? Or
I'm very busy with sushi. October is shaping up to be like another crazy month. September and August was definitely banger months. It's just it's hard to find time to do every event. I'll do double headers in a day. 2 events in one day. It gets kind of gnarly, but I'm busy with sushi, trying to fish a little bit. Really want to go keep catching this, fall tuna. Probably my favorite time to fish in the year right now. So trying to get out more. Lots of sushi, man. Lots and lots of sushi.
Hopefully the season hangs on a little bit longer. I feel like we're kind of off to a weird start. So hopefully as the weather seems to be staying pretty steady.
Yep.
So,
consistent for sure.
Yeah, and that's pretty awesome. So, I mean, for someone looking for you, right? They find you on Instagram.
Yep.
That's it. So you do all your booking through Instagram.
Yeah, as of right now, I am getting a website built.
Awesome.
At the moment. Yeah, it's under construction. Probably be tied up in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But once that's done, you'll be able to book online,
Cool.
get all the information you need for my business.
That'll be huge.
Yeah, absolutely huge.
Probably easier on you as well. Is it just you running the account, or you and your
Yeah,
wife? Or?
yeah. My wife helps me a little bit, the boss, as I say. So I also do these plate lunches. And I do these plate lunches, and I do these sushi boxes, what I call them.
The sushi
I
boxes
was going to bring
are...
up the pizza box.
Yeah.
the pizza boxes are rad.
Yeah,
That's such a cool concept.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Now there's other people doing it. I
really?
started seeing a little trend. Yeah, that's cool, though. I think it's such a compliment.
Stop making pizza boxes.
Yeah.
This is the pizza box guy.
Yeah.
He's the OG.
Yep, it's funny, but so I do pop-up plate lunches. And then sushi boxes. So I started doing small platters of sushi. You know, I usually charge like $55. You get 3 premium rolls, sashimi, fresh wasabi, ginger, and it usually feeds like around 2 people.
That's a great deal.
It is a great deal.
For super awesome
Yeah.
sushi, are you kidding?
Yeah.
I've kind of transformed it into the sushi box now because it can feed like 3 to 4 people. They're roughly around $100 to around $140 depending on what it is. But the plate lunches are an affordable way to try some of my poke, or I usually do like a protein. I'll do surf and turf, so I'll do poke, like Kalbi short rib, mac salad, furikake rice. Sometimes I do a little crab in there. Sometimes I do musubis, so, and they're usually between $25 to $35, you know, so super affordable, and they feed 2 people, no problem,
When you do the boxes, you're not doing them like to order, right? Don't you make like 10 of them and then put them up and then you?
No, I make them to order.
Oh, you make them to order?
Oh, yeah. So I set up
okay.
usually time slots with people, and that's the thing with sushi. I don't believe in just making something and then just setting it aside. It has to be built fresh. It's a quality product when you do it like that, right? And I let people know, like, hey, let me know when you're 30 minutes out. That's when I can start building, right? Bang it out, and then have it there. Everything, the sushi is not saturated in sauces.
Yeah.
And it's fresh, and that's if you're getting sushi from me, it's always gonna be a premium product, 100%.
Awesome. So they're just rolling right up to your house, picking it up, and probably eating it within the next half hour.
Yep.
Awesome, man.
Yep.
Wow, that sounds great. Yeah, I've been showing people the sushi boxes like so much.
Oh,
just
yeah,
because,
they're fun.
My fiance is allergic to shellfish, so there's a lot of times we go to sushi restaurants where she has to pick and choose certain rolls because the big restaurants and stuff, a lot of places are no substitutions, or if it is, it's very minor. And there's a lot of rolls that are built on crab, things like that. So whatever. And when I was talking to you a few months ago, I was like, wait, can I get a box that just no shellfish? We don't have to worry about it. You were
absolutely.
Like, yeah, so
absolutely.
That's
I
awesome.
can accommodate any allergy. If you don't like one thing, I can substitute it for something else. But they are omakase style. And what I mean by that is whatever I can get my hands on fresh. I like to go down to Tunaville down there in Point Loma. If they got some really nice yellowtail in, or some of that Morro Bay salmon, or their big-eyed tuna. I like supporting hook and line caught seafood, and those guys are just, that's all they do. Small boat fishermen, out there, sustainable seafood, So whatever I get my hands on. So one day the boxes may be a lot of salmon and maybe a little yellowtail. They might be a little bit of bluefin tuna, maybe a little bit of big-eyed tuna, maybe some ahi, It varies. It really does. So, but it's a good sample. There's usually 4 rolls, nigiri, sashimi. I do little sashimi roses in there as well. I use this Kazami wasabi. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's the best wasabi in the world. It's unreal.
Is it actual root?
Yes,
Like
and
more-
it's
more
marinated.
liquid, right?
Kind of,
Rather
yeah.
than
It's
the-
marinated in soy and shoyu. So it's chunky, right? And it's got a very good texture to it. It's still got
not
some
mush. It's
not
actually like
powder.
a paste.
Yeah, it's not a paste.
That's how it should be.
The paste is okay. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
you
no,
know,
I don't mean the tubed paste because I believe that's just horseradish.
mostly horseradish. Yeah.
Right. No, the actual root ground, you can tell when it's from the root.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, it's really nice. I give a ramekin of that, and I either give you a citrus ponzu, a garlic ponzu, or a kimchi ponzu on the side.
Wow.
And they're so I try to serve experiences in those boxes, right? So I'll do like one savory roll, one refreshing roll, right, and then one with a little bit of heat. I've done poke nachos in some of my boxes. It's just like a nice sampler platter,
Yeah.
And that's a lot of times people book me from just trying my boxes. We want to have a dinner.
Yeah.
We want this kind of stuff at our dinner, right?
Yeah.
It's just a great way to try it, before you book me.
Corporate lunch spread.
I do
would be
those too.
killer.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
Oh,
God.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yep, that was
If
a
you're
fun
planning a corporate lunch, this is your guy
Yeah,
right
oh my
here.
God,
Everyone's
wow.
going to be stoked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow, your new clients.
one. Yep.
So with these boxes, right? I got a perfect scenario because I'm sitting case study right here. So I got a brother-in-law. His birthday is Friday. If I wanted to get him a sushi box for his birthday, am I DMing you on Instagram?
Yeah.
And then you're working out a time slot for me to come pick it up? Or,
Yep.
And is that based on your availability?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It all depends on my availability. You know, if I'm booked for an event, obviously I can't do it. I keep them pretty much as pop-ups as of now. Once that website gets built, they'll be more readily available. You know, I'll probably do them twice a week. Probably Fridays and Saturdays, you know, and then do plate lunches during the week. Because the plate lunches are perfect for people that are working, like going on their lunch break, swing by, pick up a plate lunch, you know, and it's affordable. It's, you know, a lot of food, you know. But yeah, the boxes will be available twice a week once I get the website up and running, you know.
Awesome. Are you seeing a lot of the same customers coming back, or all new ones?
Oh
or
yeah,
a little bit of
it's
both?
a lot of a lot of the old customers.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little bit of both though. You know,
Yeah.
I don't see these people, so I deploy my wife, you know, to deliver.
Yeah.
You know, she goes out there and meets
Deploy the
everyone. Yeah,
wife.
deploy the hot wife.
Yeah, there you
No,
Probably a smart move.
Yeah. She does a great job. She's, you know, goes out there, greets people, you know, and talks to them for a little bit, and
That's great.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's cool, man. She does a great job, but yeah, I'm the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
You know, I don't usually show my face. I'm just back there grinding. You know, because, you know, say we got 4 orders coming up. You know, I gotta, you know, make a masubi real quick, or I gotta, you know, get these plate lunches ready. And I'm huge on aesthetics, so I'll put my bamboo leaf in there. I put the
Yeah.
orchids in there. Everything's got to be to the T. You know, I don't just slap stuff together. I like to be very methodical and just. But you know, my middle name is efficiency. I love being efficient, but it's got to look good. It has to look good, and we do it, man. We do it. We got a good little thing going. You know, it's a good little system. You know, she really helps me out. She gets chopsticks ready, and, you know, little ponzus, or, you know, whatever I'm serving. She helps out huge. So
That's great.
Well, that's great. Well, it's good that you say you're always behind the curtain, and now, you know, with a little bit of exposure to the podcast and the recipes, I'm really pushing these recipes, guys. If you haven't seen them, go out, check out our recipes page on the site. They get to know you a little bit. And,
want
to invite you into their home for this.
Yep.
This great thing. Well, so we talked a lot about. We kind of got away from one topic that I want to revisit, which is just tips for people listening to make their own sushi, right?
Yeah.
So if you got some fish, you can't call to have Michael in tonight or whatever, and you want to make some yourself. We talked about the rice. One thing that you and I had talked about a few months ago, or a month or so ago, was the importance of a good sushi knife and the correct cuts. Just something I think I failed at when I first started working on boats and having all this excess fish. I would just cut where I thought it would be good, and sometimes it splits apart with the little muscles in between, and it's kind of like, still tastes great, but it looks funky. It doesn't really fit the roll right. So, like, what do you, sushi knife wise and cuts, like, what are you looking at?
I'm gonna be honest. That Dexter 10-inch knife is absolutely perfect.
Oh, that's
You
awesome.
can get your hands
Shout
on
out
that.
Dexter.
Yeah, that Dexter 10-inch sashimi knife, we used it for a video, and like the next day I ordered one, and it's rad.
It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
I have a couple of them. They're great.
I use it. I keep it in my knife bag now. You know,
Oh, cool.
It's a quality knife. It keeps its edge really well. I would definitely just invest in that knife. What is it, like 60, 80, $100, something like that?
It's like $65.
Oh, man.
Like, not bad for a sushi knife. You know?
Yeah.
No.
You can
For
do
any
your
high quality knife.
nigiri cuts
Yeah.
on that. You can do your sashimi cuts on that. I mean,
It's an
and
all-arounder.
it is. It's great, and the length is the thing about it. When you're cutting that fish, here's a huge step. You want to utilize that entire blade. That's why it's so long, right? You're gonna start on the back end of that knife, right? So this is your blade. You're gonna come right here, and then use the rest of the blade to come down. You know what I mean?
Not hacking at it. Not
Right.
sawing
You don't.
at it.
You're not sawing it.
Yeah.
You know. You're gonna use that entire blade, right? So, and then cutting against the grain on your fish is huge.
Right.
Cutting against grain, right? It's gonna, if you cut with the grain, it's gonna fall apart. It's not gonna have the right mouthfeel. It's just, you know, it's not gonna be great. And utilizing like superior cuts of that fish, right? There are cuts. You know, tuna does have a lot of tendon. You know, you got that akami piece, that top loin, right there's in the center, and that should be your sashimi cuts. All right, it's hardly any sinew, right? It's easy to cut. Another thing to look at is doing saku blocks. Just watch a video on YouTube doing some saku blocks to do your sashimi. So imagine like a big loin, right? You have the top loin, right? It's just a big tuna loin. You're going to take that top off, all right? And then you're going to come down that, because now you have this big square. You have the medallion, you know what I mean? You have that part off. You come down and then make these blocks, right? And then you lay it out, that piece, you see all the grains. You can sit there and just go straight down that piece of fish, because you got all the grains right there. It's just so much easier, you know? Cutting against the grain is probably my biggest tip, and using your entire blade. You know, and don't saw at it. You know, you saw at it, you're just going to deteriorate, you know, the protein. Once you do a swift, long stroke, you're going to get a quality piece of sashimi out of that, or nigiri piece.
Yeah.
You know?
We probably have a lot of people listening who might not necessarily have a good sushi knife. What about just your standard fillet knife?
Fillet knife will work. It's going to be a real thin cut for the most part. You can absolutely do it though. You know, it might require a little bit of finesse. I would definitely, you know, have a sashimi knife, like that Dexter knife in your arsenal. I would 100% have that. If you're going to have one knife, you know, to cut your fish with, like once you're done preparing it, you've already filleted it, right? If you're gonna have one knife, I would probably say that knife to cut your fish.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then, you know, if you're starting to do sushi rolls and stuff like that, I prefer a shorter bevel. I like a shorter knife. I use Japanese knives that are extremely sharp, and I sharpen them with a whetstone. I like a shorter knife when I'm cutting my rolls.
Okay.
You know.
What were you saying about the sushi knife that makes it special is the flat, one side's completely flat, right? And then the other side has like a little bump in it?
Yep,
Yeah.
Exactly.
What does that do for it? That's what helps the cut stay so thin, or
straight,
it
keeps it thin, and it keeps it real sharp, you know? So I would say there's, you know, some knives are required for left hands.
Oh, really?
Some are required for a right-hand person, you know what I mean?
That.
So, yeah. Depending on which side the blade's on, you know, the bevel, you know, if it's a left-handed knife, a right-handed knife. Honestly, though, if you can just get your hands on you can go to Amazon and get like I think it's a 6-inch, 8-inch short bevel. I have to look it up, but it's like a $40 knife, and I use that to do 60-person events.
That's crazy.
That one knife, like, did it all.
Wow.
I can take, you know, these short knives and do sashimi cuts. If I'm gonna pinch, you know, I'm just grinding, I'll just use my short knife. Just keeping it sharp. That's
Keeping
huge.
it sharp,
if it's not sharp, don't cut, because you will hurt yourself.
It's not gonna look good.
It's not gonna look good. Yeah, sharp knife is key with sushi.
Wow.
Absolutely key.
So I think something that may be beneficial to the audience listening is just, I always, whether I'm fishing with friends or relatives or on a charter or whatever, I always stress like the importance of keeping your fish correctly, right?
Oh, yeah.
So either get all the excess moisture out and vacuum seal right away if you're not going to eat it, or how do you recommend, let's say they're going to eat it in the next 2 days, right? They catch it on a trip, they want to eat it in the next 2 days, but obviously they're going to keep it in the fridge for a bit. Do you like to use butcher paper? Do you like to just keep it in paper towels with saran wrap? Do you vacuum seal and put in the fridge? What do you prefer to do?
So if you're going to eat it, if you catch, you know, say we're fishing right now. We catch a tuna. You know, we're eating it on Wednesday night. Right. We're gonna. I'd like to fillet it that morning. I want to keep that thing on ice and keep it as cold as possible. Even salting your ice.
Right.
Salt that ice. Get it really, really cold. It's just gonna when it goes to cutting that fish, you're gonna get cleaner cuts. The meat's gonna be nice and firmed up to where it just makes things easier on you cutting. And then, honestly, what I like to do, I like to salt my fish a little bit. Salt it for 15, 20 minutes. Say you cut it, salt it for a little bit. It pulls out excess moisture.
Yeah.
Right, and just rinse it off real quick with a little bit of fresh water, and then do your cuts.
What kind of just normal salt, kosher salt?
Curing salt.
Okay.
Kosher salt will work. Yeah, absolutely.
Freshwater thing, I've never heard that before. Yep. So basically you salt it and then you're wiping the salt off
real quick.
A wet rag or something.
I don't recommend like rinsing your fillets in fresh
No.
water.
Yeah, okay.
No.
If you want to get like a premium product, salt it just a light salt layer. It's just you'll see it. Put it on like a rack. You'll see all the moisture come out. Yeah, once it's
That's a great tip.
20 minutes.
I've never heard that.
Definitely do it for like if you ever buy salmon, you want to do sushi with it. Do it for that. Salt it. Little sugar.
And you touched on it too. Like I don't. If I have fish, when I was talking earlier about how they should store it, I was assuming that wherever they fished, whatever boat they were on, they already cut it for them, right? So it's already loined out. But I think you touched on this. That's really important as well. As I leave my fish whole, gilled, gutted, bled, until the day I'm gonna cut it and eat it. Usually, if it's gonna be within 3 days. Like I keep a fish on ice, salted ice or whatever, for 2 days, and I think it gets even better than if you cut it the first day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just I just feel like it's premature. It's just giving that protein to sit and
Tightens
just kind
up.
of tighten up a little bit, and it just gives you a premium product at the end. It really does.
So what would you say to someone who doesn't have like maybe a fillet station at home or anything? Say like someone who fishes on a sport boat who is getting it in a trash bag and they're walking off and maybe they got a 40-pound fish. They got enough to feed 5 or 6 people or whatever. And it's in a trash bag. What's the best way for them to take care of that before they eat it in 48 hours?
Trim it up, right? Get it off. Keep it on the skin until you're ready to cut it.
Yeah.
Keep it on the
That's what I would
skin.
say too.
Yeah. When you're ready to cut it, cut what you're gonna use, and then if you want to eat it the next day, I like the paper towel trick works really well in the fridge. The vacuum seal works good too. The only thing with the vacuum seal, once it's sealed, right, it's gonna draw excess moisture. It's just you get a pack out. There's just all this kind of moisture in there and liquid. Patting that down really well. It's gonna be obviously huge, but it's another time before you seal, a little salt, pull that moisture out before you seal it. Just take the whole loin. Just a little bit of curing salt, kosher salt, pink Himalayan salt, just a salt to just draw out that excess moisture, and then vacuum seal it, and then you won't be getting that liquid. Just
Yeah. I
just try it.
Defrosted some the other day, and I was like, man, this stuff's swimming in here.
What
I do is, if I defrost it and it looks like that, then I'm taking it out and I'm patting it down heavily, and then I'm leaving it wrapped in a paper towel for at least a few hours in the fridge because it's just so much moisture gets pulled out.
Yep.
That's the number one thing I've noticed with people who just are novices when it comes to storing fish and taking care of it is just patting it down.
Yeah.
Like I have so many friends where I give them fish and it's vacuum sealed or whatever, or in paper towels and wrapped in saran wraps, never been frozen, and it sits in their fridge for a day, and when they take it out, they're like, yeah, it was a little fishy, and I was like, there's no way it's fishy. You just didn't pat it down. Like, it was caught yesterday. And so, like, it's really important, as long as there's any, like, excess moisture, it's going to have a little ocean taste.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just patting it down gives it that really high-quality sashimi, buttery
absolutely.
taste to it.
Patting it down completely. It's to be honest with you, I I don't like that taste. I don't blame your friends, you know?
No, I don't either, but I'm patting that stuff down.
Oh, yeah. Take the whole roll and just saturate it. Yeah.
I go through way too many paper towels. Shout out to my roommate. I need to buy paper towels.
Dude, shout out to Costco, man.
Oh, man.
Thank God for their double sheeted stuff.
That's what I use.
Paper towels are expensive.
I
mean, everything now.
And I blow through them, man.
Yeah.
I made my son breakfast more. I'd use 30 of those things, you know?
Yeah.
That's funny.
So
is your passion for sushi, is that rooted in other culinary arts, or did it just come from sushi itself and your love for fishing?
both, yeah. Sushi, fishing, you know. I'm first a fisherman, right? Mm-hmm. So I've been on the forums for 11 years, you know, writing reports. And my good friend Cody Noble, who I fish with quite often.
That's Longboard 85?
That's Longboard 85, yeah. He's very well known on the forums. Mm-hmm. Me and him is just, you know, we've been the duo, you know, the two big guys on the small boat.
Yeah.
You know? He knows those Coronado Islands like no one else. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel he's just a magician, you know. So fishing with him quite some time. You know, fun little story. Look, so it's like 2021. We're going out fishing. I think we just had a big storm, and that tuna was, you know, it was at the Tanner. It was, you know, Cherry Bank, that kind of thing. It was all spread out up there.
Yeah.
SCI area, and we had that big storm, and I think like they kind of went MIA for like a week and a half. So me and him, like, well, let's go fish the islands, you know. So we put a day together. We got the limited Yellowtail, and we're leaving. We're rounding North Island, and we hear it on the radio. This whale watching boat's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen so much big tuna so close to home. We're like, what? No way. So we're sitting there, we're like, you want to go check it out? We're looking at each other, and we're like, yeah, let's go check it out. Sure enough, we get there, we get into the gyros and just see units blowing up.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So we put a day together. We put two on the boat, like 130-pound fish, 140. Wow. And it was just us, you know, and we called in some people and guys out there on a little skiff, like what are those boats called? Radons? Are they Radons? Radons?
I call them Radon. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
They're rad.
They are rad.
Let's call them the Rads.
Yeah, the
Radons.
Yeah. They deployed a little spreader bar and got bit instantly, you know.
Nice.
It was such a cool day because that was his 14th year anniversary of being sober.
Oh,
you know?
That's so cool.
It's just so cool. So and you know, it's so funny. I hooked a fish like 2 weeks before that trip. I hooked a fish on 40-pound and Trinidad 20, 8-foot CalStar rod. Fought it for 5 hours.
Oh god.
Yellowtail setup.
Small hook.
Oh my god.
Had it at the boat, dude.
Oh no, you saw it.
Gaffed it.
Oh.
I gaffed it with 2 gaffs. Boom, stuck it. Ripped one out my hands. About broke the other one. Broke my rod. He was holding the rod. It just lit up. It was just so green.
Wow.
Just so green. It was
hours?
a 200-pound fish. It was huge. And we just couldn't do it, you know.
Yeah.
So that was a great redemption trip, you know.
Oh, that's crazy.
What kind of lure did you hook that big one on? Because it's so interesting. Like, if you hook one of those big ones on like a Colt Sniper, it's gonna swallow it. So then your leader is like, you're just hoping it doesn't chew through your leader. But I've noticed like the bigger poppers and stuff, like when the casting originated, like back in 2015 when people started first like really throwing the popper for the big ones, I noticed like the big Halco Roosta popper would get them, and there would be like enough space between the back hook and the front of the lure to where you weren't getting sawed off really.
Yeah, that's what I use.
And so those were good, but the smaller lures, they get super bit, but it's just like,
well, you know, on that trip, when we got them right there close on the 9, we were throwing those Shimano stick baits, the Colt Sniper stick baits.
Those are killers.
We had single J's on them, just leadered with 100-pound leaders, because you know those things were you didn't have to even catch. We were literally fishing. Usually I would fish tranks for those things. With the stick baits, but we're fishing Trinidad's. We just came from the islands. We didn't have any big gear.
We're
So
outfitted with the big stuff.
Thank
Yeah.
God. So you did tie on a bigger leader at least.
oh yeah, we
Yeah,
stripped
thank
our 40
God.
pound off and
Okay,
just went straight braid
Yeah.
to that
Yeah.
to that leadered stick bait.
40 pound, you're just toast.
Yeah, we could have. I mean, we could have just smashed them all day, but we're on a 16-foot boat.
No
Yeah.
room.
2 big ones.
Out of ice.
Yeah, out of ice.
Out of
We had to
ice.
trade a couple.
That's a thing, man. I've had those days where it's like you're just out of ice, and
You're
it's
out of
just,
ice.
You're gonna be irresponsible if you keep going.
Yep. So it was super rad. It stayed there for a while too. I told a couple buddies about it, and they went and got in on it. I think my
That's cool.
buddy Mike got like a 120 on 60 pound.
Nice.
So
Wow.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
fun,
you got,
man.
You got a lot of good stories, and a lot of them are documented in the forums.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is great. If you guys are BD forum members, MK Friedrich.
Yep,
Right? MK
yep.
Friedrich is his name. He's been around. We were looking at some of your the legacy of your posts in the last 5 years, more, probably even more than that. So that's awesome. But yeah, man, this has been awesome. I guess moving forward, what do you want to tell these people how to get a hold of you? Instagram, and if they're planning for a big event, how far ahead should someone be reaching out to you to plan?
I'm really about 2 weeks out right now.
Okay.
But the best way to get a hold of me is through Instagram at the moment. SushiMeRollnSD San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
SushiMeRollnSD. If I do, anywhere from 8-person private dinners to 200-person weddings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a 100-person yacht party on the Hornblower.
Oh, cool.
Something, next week.
It's a lot of ice.
Yeah, I'm completely mobile. I'll come
Yeah.
to a campsite if you need me to.
Yeah.
I bring it all.
Awesome.
So, if you have a small kitchen, I make anything work. So
Cool.
yeah, doesn't matter if you live in a camper or 10,000 square foot mansion.
Yeah.
I'm
Rad.
I'm there.
Yeah, so you guys go check out his Instagram, and then when his website's fired up, I'm sure you'll probably promote that on your Instagram,
Oh, yeah,
right? Let people
absolutely.
know the booking is you can do it through the website, and all
Yep.
this and that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, it's been great having you on.
Yeah, this has been fun,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, super
Thanks,
super
Michael.
Hanging out with
We
the boys.
appreciate it.
And, maybe a part 2 later on in the year where we just have a ton
Yeah.
of sushi and just eat it and let everyone listen to us chew the whole time.
That'd be cool. People are into that kind of thing.
Yeah, and check out Michael's recipes in the recipe section. They're killer.
yeah,
I mean, we're still catching a lot of fish. I'm all about respecting the fish, and there's no better way to
Absolutely.
do that than to make, recipes that taste great. And they're on there
Absolutely.
for you, so check them out.
Yeah, the slider recipe is very very user friendly. It's so easy.
Yeah.
Just a really
a banger.
absolute banger.
Fanfare. Are you kidding me?
Banger. Yeah, they're fun, man. They're fun.
Yeah. Oh, awesome, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks,
Nate.
Michael.
Thanks,
Dude, this has been fun. I thank you guys.
Yeah, no
It's
worries.
been a blast.
Thanks, Ira, behind the scenes.
Ira's the
Got
man.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ira, for
Yeah.
everything.
And we'll talk to you guys in a few weeks.
Yeah.